Showtime.
It's about that time.
Let's go.
You're right where you need to be. This is GCOM Radio.
Hardest radio station on the planet. Yeah.
Powered by Lyfeblood.com.
We certified.
And hosted by Nova Phoenix.
Give them that flavor.
All right, folks. All right. We're here. What's going down? What is going down? How's everybody been? How's your week? Hopefully it's been glorious, everything and all that, man. Yeah, man, it's glad to be back here on the show, man, and getting on the mic and talk to you guys on about the various topics that has been on my mind and it's been happening in the news and everything like that. Yeah, so, we're going to get started. Let me just move some things to the side here. Just had a quick little dinner. Yeah, man. So, yeah, it's been a little late. My bad, y'all. Just had something to do this week. It was my niece's birthday, and we celebrated it, and that's kind of took, precedent. Had to push things over for this nice young lady that she has turned 16, man. Sweet 16. Went to a nice place, man, in the city. Beautiful. Yeah, it was a nice joint. It was a Lebanese restaurant. I believe it was called Ilili, man. And it was dope, man. That meal was fantastic. If anybody wants great Lebanese food, man, go to this restaurant called Ilili. I think I'm gonna go right now. Ilili. I just want to make sure I'm getting this right. Lebanese restaurant. And it was nice, man. I mean, Lily. I love how it's spelled. The logo of it was so nice. ILIL. Lily. Very nice Lebanese restaurant, man. Go and check it out. Just Google it. You will enjoy yourself. It's at 236 Fifth Avenue. Food is wonderful, man. So yeah, that's why I'm a little late for the show. And doing all the other things that it's supposed to be doing. Speaking to some people, I'm not gonna say as of yet. Just working on some things, on various things that I'm not gonna talk about too. I feel like if I talk about it, it's just going to annoy me because I'm trying to get on the ball here and get this thing rolling. But it will be in the next week or so. But I guess I'll get to that when it's time. All right, so let's just get this show on the road, man. I don't have that much time to really chop it up with you guys. But yeah, let's get it going. This is GCOM Radio. I am your host, Nova Phoenix. And I'm not going to say the saying right now, but we're going to get right into it. Yeah, so what is going on in these United States of America, man? I got to say, man, listen to different podcasts, but in the room of, VCs and everything like that. And yeah, man, Web3 has taken a serious hit. Now, all the established, what you could say as far as established cryptos and platforms, they have gotten a hit, but they're not going anywhere. They got in. They have grew their roots deep down into the soil. What I'm talking about is Coinbase. They're not going anywhere. Binance not going anywhere. They have taken some hits as far as the money that they're making with the recent news as far as what Gary Gensler, the SEC director, is talking about. Really considering the cryptos and tokens and securities, and it has to be regulated as such because of FTX and all these other platforms that have taken away and stolen billions of dollars from investors, which is you folks out there that have kind of put your money into these platforms and lost it all. So now, I was in this room. I'm not going to say necessarily because I don't want to bring it down. But yeah, I was in this Twitter space and just talking about investments for VCs and founders, not just in the United States, but around the world. But there's one particular founder that, Web3 has really taken us a smash, man. It did not help everything. The last couple of businesses that went belly up, as I said before, on previous podcasts, like FTX and the things with Celsius and, Terra Luna. Do I think there a certain degree, like I've always said before, and I'll say again, a certain level of regulation I understand, but I think there should be a regulatory body built within the Web3 space. In the spirit of Web3, there are certain things that should be done. People should not be afraid of losing their investments, whatever investments that you've made in crypto. If you're even staking or anything of that nature. I'm just concerned with the government really taking an advantage of a low point and either trying to regulate the shit out of it to make as much money as they can, or taking an opportunity to drive the stake into this new market and stopping it. And then they'll say, well, we didn't do anything. So, and it's not nothing new under the sun. There's just been a lot of different inventions that have been introduced to the public, and the legacy companies, afraid of being put out of business, they either bought the new invention and promised the inventor that, oh my God, you're gonna make so much money, it's gonna be so, and they bought it for whatever X amount of dollars, took the L and shelved this new invention, or they did whatever that they had to do to kind of drive this inventor founder into oblivion. That's like what happened to Nikola Tesla and his idea of free energy with the inventions that he made. If anybody doesn't know, please check it out. Nikola Tesla. I think it was Graham Bell. I think it's wild. Graham Bell, Nikola Tesla, Bell. Did I get Bell right? Bell, Edison, and Tesla. So yeah, Thomas Edison, the famous guy. Thomas Edison was, I believe, if I have the story right, was funding Nikola Tesla, and then my man, he had some ideas, Nikola Tesla, and then the big businessman Edison was like, hell no, pulled the funding, and a lot of other stuff. I'm just going over real quickly what happened to Nikola, and he died broke, and he was suffering from he had health issues, things of that nature, and it's crazy. So as far as Web3 concerned, it is going through a serious low point right now, and I'm hoping that it does turn around, and it will turn around. But there are certain things that has to get worked out. As far as how do you protect the users, the user experience in some of these platforms. Security, the whole gambit on the things that are that's causing this market or this new venture in this Web3, this new digital space to kind of taking some hits below the belt, man. And the only people that's going to do that are people like me, people that have a true passion to see the Web3 kind of really come into full fruition and into full blossom. So, we'll see. I'm still doing my thing. There's certain things that I am working on that hopefully when the planets and stars and all that align, that it will come in when it does come in. So, yeah. Yeah, so the other thing that I have on this list, it's not even on the list. My bad. It's not even on the list. Something I just found out. I'm just going to say, I just wanted to share myself. So Mayor Lightfoot, Chicago Mayor Lori Lightfoot, I didn't even know they were having the election for the mayor around this time. I'm just looking at the news. I'm like, oh, I'm reading it. Matter of fact, I saw it on Twitter. I'm like, oh, really? They had a Chicago mayor election? Had no idea. Let me tell you something. Had no idea there was a Chicago election going on. No idea. No idea. I don't know what this means with Chicago. Yo, that joint was so insulated. Yo, folks, I'm sorry. There was absolutely nothing. Now, why should it matter to me as a New Yorker that there's an actual election going on in Chicago? Maybe I would like to chime in on seeing what's going on in Chicago. I can't vote. I'm not from Chicago. Maybe I know folks in Chicago, but how do you have an entire city, major city, Chicago? And I mean, look, I feel that I'm pretty tied in. I think I'm pretty tied into the news. I'm tied into IG. I'm tied into Twitter, of course. I'm tied into multiple different social media platforms. I look at the news. I go online. I see information pop up on my phone. I always read the news, watch the news, hear the news. I had no idea there was a Chicago mayor election happening. Yo, that is how. I just want to know how. I always see news on Ron DeSantis. I always hear about what Boebert is doing, Laura Boebert. I always hear what Marjorie Taylor Greene is doing. I hear DeSantis, this guy right here in New York that lied his way and somehow got elected. I still don't know how this fool got elected, came out of nowhere. I hear news about, oh my God, about what's happening in what's going on with Trump, Elon Musk. I hear news on, let's say, finding faint signatures of, let me see if I got this right, what seems to be larger than our galaxy, other galaxies in the faint distance of the universe that could turn up on its end how old we think our actual universe is. I heard news like that. I read news like that. I've seen it. I see and hear so many things. How did the Chicago mayor election get past me? How, Sway? How? I get news. You know what I heard? You know how I first heard about the mayoral election? When I heard about this young man on Twitter that I followed, that he was actually running for mayor, and that's when it let me see if I could go into my profile here. That's when it clicked that, oh, are we having an election? But again, I didn't think the election date was anytime soon. I saw this young man talking about running for mayor in Chicago, and because he was talking about dealing with police and all these things. What's his brother's name? I'm gonna get his name. And I was like, and I just said, hey man, I like what you're saying, but I want to see actions. And because he said a lot of great things. He said great things. To see if I can catch it, because it's in my Twitter. And I said that's a beautiful thing, right? But I want to see what he's actually going to do the closer he gets the election. If he gets elected, what is he exactly going to do? I can't find it. I think his name is Jamal something. And I thought I could find it in my Twitter feed, because anything that you post or like, it's going to show up in your Twitter. And that's how, when I can't find certain things, okay, let me go back to my Twitter, go back a couple tweets and see if I can find it. Let me see if I can find, and I can't find it. Man, I can't find it. How I can't find it. Wow. I think this guy's name, let me see my search. I think his name was Jamal, or he's a young dude. He looked like he was in his 20s or something or other. Okay, let me go to my profile, and because I follow him. Let me see if I could find him. Let's see here. Yeah, here you go. JA''MAL Green, Jamal Green, Chicago Mayor 2023. And that's how I find out about the Chicago election was happening, but I didn't know it was so soon. How did this not pop up in any of my Twitter feeds? Nobody. What is going on? Soon as Mayor Lori Lightfoot loses the election, that's when it lights up. Twitter lights up. I'm not saying it's conspiracy. I'm not saying that, but it's just interesting to me that all of a sudden now then the news pops up as far as the Chicago mayor and all whatever's coming out. So Chicago Mayor Lori Lightfoot, she lost, and to two dudes. And what is the name? I don't. And it's not about the names of her opponents here, right? It's not about the names of her opponents. It's more so that the guys she lost to, Paul Vallis and a Brandon Johnson. So outflanked from the right. So it says this is Yahoo. Lightfoot failed to make the April runoff, losing to Paul Vallis and Brandon Johnson, who outflanked her from the right and left, respectively. Crime has become the leading issue in the election, leading Lightfoot to pivot towards supporting the police. So one gentleman was supported by the teachers union, Democrat, of course, and the other guy was supported by the police union, a Republican, of course. Now, guess who? Again, I don't put it past anyone or anything or how things turn out. I'm sorry. I can't prove it, but still. So anyway, so Lori Lightfoot lost. And she supposedly right now, most of the attention is going to the gentleman that's supported by the police union because they're using crime. Oh, yes. Yes, they are using that excuse. They're saying that because Chicago is rife with crime, people got tired of it and voted for the person that was going to be tough on crime. So let me go to this other article. Let me see if I can get it right here. So let's scroll down a second. Just in third place. Paul Vallis, a former public schools chief, and Brandon Johnson, a county board commissioner, will vie to replace her. So yeah. So I can't find it because I'm not going to spend my time trying. But again, as I said, it's not about the names of her opponents. It's more so how the narrative is being shaped, that Lori Lightfoot was a wash-up or useless person as the Chicago mayor. And because Chicago is rife with crime, and that was essentially what made her lose the election. And the gentleman that's taking the lead so far, of course, the one that's being backed by the police union, got a comfortable lead against his other opponent. I think Laval, I said. Deval, whatever that guy, the other guy's name, supported by the teachers union. And basically they're calling her a wash up and it's useless and crime is right. They got to do something about it. And, and the whole narrative. And I read 2 articles on yahoo.com. But what they're doing now, the media, is they're trying to shape the story that the crime is so bad in Chicago that was the primary reason why she lost. And people want things to shape up over there in Chicago and crime. Let me tell you, they always use Chicago, and they speak to each other. Republicans speak to each other. And I'm not saying this as a Democrat, Republican. I'm just saying I hear how narratives are shaped. I hear how storylines are shaped. I hear how they want to drive the message home, not just in a particular area that they're talking about, but across America. And they always use the same argument in terms of crime and what's going on or why you need to be tough on crime. Chicago is always used as some sort of scapegoat. See, there's so much crime in Chicago. There's so much crime everywhere. Everywhere there's crime. When there's poor people, where the people are not making enough money, people below the poverty line, there's going to be areas rife with crime. But they use Chicago because it's the predominantly black city, and they want to show you that black people just don't know how to act. It's embedded within their DNA, and we have to shape up things that's going on in Chicago because that's what we need to do. That is an old narrative that's been played out decade after decade after decade after decade. It goes back to Reagan. It is a lost cause. If crime was going to be stamped out, it would have been stamped out years ago, because they're saying the only solution to fixing crime in Chicago or any major major city is more cops. They have done that already. They ballooned police budgets, and the cops have become militarized. They have all sorts of equipment, more guns. They got tanks. They got RVs. They got everything that they need in order to stop crime. But guess what? Crime never stops, because ultimately it's not police that stops crime. It is not police. I'll say it one more time. I'll say it slow. It is not police who stops crime. It's not police, man. You have to solve what is the root cause of why people are having issues in their city. Poverty, man. Poverty, and nobody is driving. That message is being shared. That message is being talked about. Poverty is the issue that is affecting people. That is what's sustaining crime. That is the main reason why cities are having issues with crime. It is poverty. It is not police officers. It is poverty. You solve poverty, crime eventually goes down. And I said this on the show before. What do police do in well-off neighborhoods? They twiddle their thumbs and they do absolutely nothing, because they know there's nothing to do. The point for major cities is not to solve crime, because at this point, as a grown-ass man that I am, as a grown-ass man and woman that everybody is in politics, they know crime is not the issue. That is a dog whistle statement now that they're using in order to feed the prison industrial complex and keep the Negroes and the Spicks in check. I'm going to keep it real. That's what it means. It means to keep you back 4 or 5 steps ahead. Now, what needs to happen? What needs to happen? It's funny that how things are turning out, because every time someone that's black or someone that's Latino or whoever is trying to quote unquote run a progressive, I can't even say progressive. Let's say Democrats, because people who are Democrats automatically think Democrats are progressive. They're one and the same, and it's not. People think Democrat, and automatically people think that this politician is meant for the people. They want what's best for the citizens. They want what's best. They're going to turn things around, and they're going to do all these things. All these same BS bullshit talking points they've been saying about housing and hunger and racism and all these things. And what happens when they get in office? They do nothing diddly squat. They don't do shit. They do nothing. All right. They get you going around and they start smiling, and they're not even doing mayoral work. What they are doing, they're doing PR every day. They go out there in their nice suits and their nice clothes and their coiffed hair of manicured nails, and they go out there and they smile when they leave their door, and they smile when they're coming back, and they do nothing but PR. And it is so obvious. It is so obvious. You don't see mayors rolling up their sleeves, actually getting out there and doing work. It is turned into a PR shows when it comes to mayors. Personally, sometimes I can't knock mayors entirely, because they run on a certain message. I'll just say this, all right, just to be fair here. So I'm not always digging into my heels into a mayor's back. I'm not going to say that. Sometimes they'll come in with specific talking points, and they may seem like they really want to turn things around. People believe them. They say, let's do that because that's what our city needs. This is a blue state. We're getting a Democrat. The hell with Republicans, because all they want to do is put more cops on the street. And Democrats, they're actually listening to us. They're actually considering what we're talking about. I'm voting Democrat. Certain people have been Democrat for lifelong, so they're not changing outside of that. They're going to vote Democrat anywhere. It could be Howdy Doody, and he's a Democrat, and this Democrat's going to be voting for him. They get in, and all of a sudden, what happens when as soon as they win, that night they win the election, they do a 180 the next day. You don't see nothing of anything worth as any constructive legislation or bills or acts or anything that, along with the city council members, that they're actually going to change what's happening in their city, the city that they said that they would change around. They do nothing. And I'm surprised. And I see these mayors that they walk around, and all they're doing, it seems like they're reading from the playbook. It's the same goddamn playbook. Oh my God. You don't understand. What has happened now in 2023 when you look at mayors, and that's why I look at all mayors. I look at not just New York City, I look at Chicago, I look at Florida, I look at California, what's happening in Texas, what's happening in San Diego, what's happening in Portland, Oregon. I want to know what's happening in Bakersfield, California. I want to see how these people are actually moving. I want to look at them closely. I want to see what they eat. I want to see what they do. What are they saying? What are the key words? Where are they walking? Where are they not walking? What are they saying? What are they not saying? Who are the people that they're surrounding themselves with? Because I want to analyze for myself who these people are. And what I've seen is there are most mayors that I see, they go by the playbook. Oh my God, you don't understand. They go by the same playbook. Nothing changes. Nothing, absolutely nothing changes. Where you saw a spark before on the trail, right? Of course, they got to be their best. They got to put their absolute best foot forward during the election campaign. But once they turn that corner and they win, they take up the same goddamn playbook. And they got to be tough on crime. And before, supposedly, Mayor Lori Lightfoot was going to be pull back the police budget, but supposedly she was getting pushed back from the public or for certain key people, and she turned that around and said, "No, I'm supporting cops." Right? Obviously, if Chicago is such a problem, if Chicago is a city that's rife with crime, and every year you have raised the budget to the police budget, and every year you're saying there's more crime, obviously you have to say, well, maybe this is not the answer. Maybe as a mayor, you should say, you know what? This hasn't worked in the last 2 or 3 mayors. I'm going to do something different. I'm going to go by a different playbook. But no, they don't. I think because it's for a specific reason. I think there are people that talk to them. I'm going to be real. You're not going to change things around just like that. And I always said presidents or the presidency is just more than one man. And I think personally, these people talk a good game and they get people riled up. The really good ones, though, right? They're going to change things around when they get inside. I think they have a sit down. I think they get sat down, and I think they get spoken to, and I think they're going to remind you, you're not going to go outside of these lines here. You're going to make sure the elite gets taken care of. That's my personal feeling. I could be wrong. Because I have to state that. You're going to take care of the people that needs to be taken care of. You're going to do what you got to do as mayor. You're going to come in there. You're going to, turn certain things around. You're going to give some concessions a little here and there, but majority, you're going to keep this program going. And what police, that's a part of the program, is you got to feed in the farm. You got to take these kids, these young kids, and keep these jails full. I think that is a discussion that's had with these mayors before they actually do work. What's his name? And I said it before, when who was the wrestler turned mayor? And he was a soldier here, a wrestler. His name is turned mayor. I think he was turned, I think senator or mayor or something like that. Let me see if Jesse Ventura. Jesse Ventura was a WWF wrestler. He eventually turned to politics. He said Ventura entered politics in 91. He was elected mayor of Brooklyn Park, Minnesota, a position he held since 1995. Right, and he was a straightforward guy. He was the realest dude I've ever seen take political office. He did not hold his tongue. That's just not him. He said it like it is, and he said when I won to be mayor of my town, I got to sit down. He said it. You could go back. I don't know if it's on YouTube. He said, I got to sit down. Who are you? Where are you coming from? They could, forget Jesse Ventura arrest. They want to know who he is, as far as his mindset. He's like, hey man. So he got the talk. He got to sit down. And I think mayors get to sit down. They want to make sure you keep this ball rolling. Saying how this machine been running for the past 100 years, we ain't stepping outside of that. But I think mayors have to be brave, man. I think new mayors of the 21st century know that they're going to have the talk, and they got to go into it knowing it's going to be their first and last term as mayor, and they got to throw the rule book out. They got to throw the rule book out and say, no, I'm going to do something different. The people going to get money. Y'all going to get money. whoever is behind the scene, right? Because you can't go total 180. You got to play the game a little bit, because I understand. All right. But you're going to be like, nah, we're not doing this. What we're going to do here, I'm going to institute bong. Expect that you're going to get pushback as a mayor. And people have to support this mayor. Not any mayor, not the mayor that they give you, but the mayor that the people select to get into office, even if he has to start or she has to start as city council member and get in there. You have to go into that mayoral seat knowing that you are going to get 100 pushback, because you said, I am not playing by that book. I'm going to make sure I turn this city around. Yeah, don't worry. He or she will get money, these people, but we are not doing this. You say you're going to shut down Rikers Island? You're going to shut down Rikers Island, because that was big talk. Rikers Island's still happening. It ain't changed. All right, yeah. Do we need police on the block? Sure, we need police. Of course, you're gonna need cops. It's an entire system that was set up to pay people in order to go around neighborhoods to quote unquote keep the peace, right? I see the cops out there, but knowing you're going to institute, you're going to sit down with a nonprofit, whoever, you're going to allocate some money, do your damnedest as a mayor to try to get some money from the state. And whenever you start to look at your budget again, knowing that you're going to get pushback, your name might get sullied. They might throw out some news on you and saying whatever. That's why your background, your history got to be squeaky clean, and you got to let the people know they're going to come at. That they're going to push back on you. And the people have to support you. When you get 80% of the people, especially if you're going to do programs because it's going to improve their life, if you get 80% of the people backing you either way, and then you may have to take the L. I know it's funny, but in the ways where you show the crack in the system, you may have to take the L and it be your first and last term. But you have to show them what's going on behind the curtain. That's your purpose. Your purpose is not to serve 2 terms or be the goody and be like, hey, I did my stuff. No, you have to go in with the purpose of pulling down the curtain. Even when you take the L and they sell your name, all of a sudden you can't get reelected. At least you show the people, look, see, I try to do something different. Because I say that because it cannot continue to go this way. We already know what it takes to change a city. We already know what it takes to have a flourishing community, a society. You need to fund certain programs in order to give people the opportunity to change their lives around. And it has. Even if you want to call it a pilot program. Hey, this is a pilot program for the poor, the people that are struggling. We're gonna allocate some funds. We're gonna see about job training. We're gonna see about education. We're gonna see about all those things. All those things, and being intentional. Now, what I see here in New York, everybody, like I said, the news plays a big part of it, because what's happening with Mayor Lori Lightfoot, the news is shaping the story that she was totally useless, and the reason she can't run on on cutting the police budget, because obviously your city is just rife with crime, and it's filled to the brim with crime. That's why she lost, because eventually people had to come to terms that you can't run it like that. So they're already trying to shape the narrative around her at this very second. So you, the mayor, the new person, the new prospect that's going to be mayor, is going to have to understand that, going to have to push hard, push against it, make sure these people get what they can as pilot programs, see the success for it, get the people behind you. The people going to be behind you because they know what's up, they know what's going on, because I see the talk. I see that people online, on social media, understand that there's something wrong with our system. They understand something is not ticking right. And every year, every quarter, every month, every 2 weeks they get paid, their life gets a little bit worse along the line. Incrementally, their lives get a little bit worse, and they want to see that change. Look what's happening in East Palestine, Ohio. People are fed up. The train turned over. It has poisoned their environment. Essentially, it is poisoning them, and the people are tired. And they're trying to shape this as a party thing. They're trying to say, is Democrats are doing, is Republicans doing. They are staying hard line on that same narrative to keep people at their throats. And it's not about parties. It's about the haves and the have-nots. And that's what I'm saying the people that want to run for mayor has to do. They got to go into it knowing that they're going to get pushed back. And your job is to let the people see that there's actually things, mechanisms that are putting into place, seeing that they stopping you from becoming mayor, or shaping the story where they're trying to make you as an ineffective person sitting in that mayoral seat, expecting the public to run against you. But you gotta be strong. There's one thing I gotta say. The Trump people are strong. I'm not gonna front the Trump folks, they don't care if this dude killed babies. They are voting for him. They don't care. They are hardline. Democrats, they be playing this high moral ground. Well, he has to be this. They play the Jesus figure with Democrats. It's wild. It's wild. They play the Jesus. No, you have to be spotless. And if one thing go out of whack, all of a sudden they be like, I'm not voting for you. Let me tell you, Trump people, they don't care. It's go home or go hard. They don't care what comes out against Trump. They are voting for him. They be like, yo, that's fake news. And the evidence is staring them in their face. And they staring back with the red cap on, make America great again. I'm like, I don't know what you're talking about. Yo, I got to give it the tenacity. They be like, look, I am team white supremacy. I'm not backing down. He got my vote. The talk has been done, the winks, the head nods during Trump's campaign, and everybody like him. Everybody, it's not even wink, head nod. They telling their both right out in the open. Listen, we team white supremacy, and everybody else is like, word. I know what you're saying, but yo, you heard what he said? I don't know what he said. That's how. If you want to play that Democrat, if you got to play that position, that's how you got to be. If you want to turn things around in your city, whether you're from New York, Chicago, or Florida, or California, you got to go hard body. Now, I suggest you have a clean history. Not everybody clean, but it's clean enough. But your voters got to be on some Trump business. If they run some stupid narrative that I don't know, slapped a baby, 5-year-old baby, something, I guess he slapped a 5-year-old baby. And no, that's how it's going to be shaped. Because if you push against the system, you think the system now going to push back on you? So you, as a politician, that's what I was telling Jamal Green. That's what I was telling. I'm like, yo, man, you going to have to show and prove. You going to have to show and prove. I don't care what you say. I care about what you do. If you want to try something different, because he says, I'm not going to fund police budgets. I'm not going to do it. I'm going to do what's necessary. We did that already. That hasn't worked. I'm going to do something. I'm going to institute programs. I'm like, that's what's up. That's what you got to do. And it's not going to be his last. He's a young cat, probably his mid and late 20s. He's going to grow. The next cycle is going to come. He's going to run again. He's going to build his name in whatever capacity. That's what I support. Hard body. I support that. And if a mayor is like, yo, you got to come out, they running again, yo, people got to be out there. The people that you have to show your local government, the people mean business. They can play whatever they want. The people mean business. And you got to do what's, I'm talking about average everyday folks. You got to do what's, you got to boycott. You got to stop the machine. You got to keep the gears from turning. You got to do what's necessary, saying, no, I'm done with this. I know what you're trying to do. You're raising the rent. You're raising the mortgage. I got debt up the wazoo. I can't go to school because it costs too much. I got to go to school now. Oh, $100,000. You got to show your government that you are not messing around anymore and you mean business. Everyone, old, young, people working, not working, go on rotation. You come in, you step out, you work. I understand. Come on Saturday. Yo, the people gotta let the government know we are hip to this game and we are not going for it anymore. You gonna make some change. That's what the people got to do in their cities, man. And I said to all those folks that's running, I know, yo, listen, if you're going to put your life, as far as, let's say the gangs in Chicago, wherever, I say everywhere, gangs everywhere, that goes to my 8-point proclamation. I said, if you were in the gang, I understand, young man, I'm not going to tell you to do something that You know what I mean? I know you gotta make a living, but if you're gonna put the energy in your life ending prematurely because you trying to hold down one city block, whatever, you gotta be Batman. All right, listen, think of it like this. Your life, if you gonna put your life to end, at least let it be for a purpose, for a reason, a noble reason. Because when you die, you gone. Your only people crying for you is your family. If you gonna go out like a champ. You gotta do what's necessary for your community. You want things to change, you gotta go out there and make a change. Understand? I know that's hard from this voice to talking to you through this mic, but your situation is fucked up because the government got it like that. And it's been like that with your mother and father, your grandfather, grandmother, your great grandma. You have to be willing to break the cycle. All y'all have to go out in droves instead of hanging on the corner, say, what can I do to change these things around? That's what I'm talking about. And I'm telling you, because they'll talk all that mess about you being in the gang. See, this is why we got this 40% crime uptick in Chicago, and we got to lock these people. Nah, you can't do that. They want you to keep doing that. They don't want you to change. If you say, I'm tired of doing that stuff on the block, I really want to make a difference in my community, they'll smile in your face and be like, yeah, that's good, young man. We want to see you. They don't want to see you do that. They want to see you keep on doing that same thing so they can put you in jail and make money off of your black ass and brown ass. Keep it real, because everybody getting it. Understand what I'm saying? So, hey, man, Mayor Lori Lightfoot, they ran a game on her. They kept her in line. And it's funny what I said. There's no retirement plan holding up white supremacy. She played that line. She played from the same playbook. And let me tell you one more last thing on that. It's not the narrative what they're trying to say that cost her the election as far as crime and her not paying attention. And that wasn't like that. It's because the people understood that Lori Lightfoot was a pawn. That is what made her lose. And I saw some statistics. They're saying 18 to 45 had abysmal voting numbers. And the 55-year-olds came out and they won. And they knew that, and they were putting out ads to ensure that the 55 plus voted for another candidate other than Lori Lightfoot. People did not go out to vote because they knew Lori Lightfoot was a sham. The young black voters knew she was a pawn. That's why she lost. Not because it was about crime. It was about, hey, you're not really doing, or she was ineffective and she didn't know what she was. It had nothing to do with that. People on the ground, black independent media that a number of them was calling out Mayor Lori Lightfoot, and they was putting her on blast with the people, and the people knew that because they are tied in. They don't listen just as much as white folk don't want to listen to CNN and Fox, whatever they want to. It's the same thing with black folk. We understand, and black people and people of color are hip to the bullshit on major news network. They listen to other sources of media, and it pretty much is black because they see what's happening to my sister, I forgot from her show on Saturdays. They see what's happening to all the black newscasters. You know who I'm talking about. They got kicked off and they tossed them like an old pair of socks. And everybody's saying, don't worry about it. Do your own thing on YouTube. Start your own podcast. Do whatever you got to do. And boom, doing it. So they're like, I'm not listening to major news network. I'm gonna listen to this podcast. They just started one. I like that. I like listening to that. Let's keep it real. They listen to Tariq Nasheed. They was listening to that dude. They listened to my brother that I follow. Let me go to YouTube here. Even though he kind of like he plays it up to the Democrat thing. I'm not too hot on that. He plays up that they listen to Boyce Watkins. All right, and I tell you the people that I listen to here and there. What's my man name? Oh man. I haven't listened to a while. See, the things with YouTube, when you stop listening, the algorithm kicks in and it pushes back the podcast or whatever you listen to on YouTube back. So the primary ones are at the top of the list. Oh my God, what's his name? Damn, obviously I haven't listened to my man in a minute, and I do listen to him. Oh my God, what's the name? Roland Martin. I listen to Roland Martin. I listen to him. People are tuned in, man. Lori Lightfoot lost because she played the game that they wanted her to play, and the establishment underestimated the intelligence of the masses. That's what made Mayor Lori Lightfoot lose. Plain and simple. All right, let me move on for here, guys. That's enough for Lori Lightfoot. Anyway, shout out to Jason Brown. You know who Jason Brown is? That's a football player that turned into a farmer. He signed in 2009 with the St. Louis Rams, and he had a 5-year, $37.5 million contract, and he decided out of nowhere to leave. His agent said he was crazy. He said, no, I'm listening to my heart. I'm listening to God. I want to be of service. I'm going to get out of here. I'm going to be a farmer. So he decides to buy 1,000 acres of land. He calls it, I don't even have it here. Sorry, I'm reading. I forgot to put it down. I really thought I wrote that down. Anyway, the name of his farm. I forgot the name of his farm. Let's go to the videotape. Let's see. Let me see if I can find his farm. Jason Brown. Let me see. The name of his farm, Jason Brown Farm. He calls his name of his farm First Fruits Farm. So First Fruits Farm, and he calls it that because he gives the first crops of fruits and produce to food pantries, and about 46,000 pounds of produce. And he bought this land in North Carolina. That is a beautiful thing. That's what's up. Now, why am I mentioning Jason Brown turning to farming? And mind you, he learned farming just by watching YouTube and talking to people. Nothing crazy. Man, this is the 21st century. You can learn anything now. With a couple of strokes of some keys on your keyboard, going watching a couple of videos. I'm not saying you're going to be a heart surgeon. But you can figure out if you want to do something and you want to do something totally different from what you're doing, you can do it. It's not hard. But yeah, he became a farmer, and he did it, man. He did it in Lewisburg, North Carolina, where he bought 1,000 acres, and he is servicing his community. Now, the reason why I mentioned Jason Brown, because it brings me to the black farmers, the couple in Colorado, in El Paso County, Colorado. They have their ranch, Freedom Makers Ranch, and they are facing, full-on white supremacy. And they thought that if they just speak to the sheriff and they speak to the lawyer or the judge, that they can get something. Hell nah. That's what I'm talking about, intentionality. If you want, I'm not saying for them not to be a farmer. I'm just saying go to some place where it is receptive to the existence of black people. All right, where you are going to be celebrated and not tolerated. They chose wrong. Now, I fully support justice for the couple that's dealing with a lot over there in what do you call it, Colorado. I fully support it. I hope they get justice. But this is what I'm talking about, intentionality. He chose North Carolina, Jason Brown. That's good. I'm not saying you're going to be totally insulated from racism. I'm not saying that, but you have to be smart on where you move. It's like the chessboard, as I said. You want to move where you are celebrated and not tolerated, where you know you have enough of you around, where it's about numbers. Okay, it's about numbers, and it's about having your allies, whether in not just in the community, but also in the local governmental seats, whether you're the judge, you're the DA, you're the cops, you're someone, because they tried to do that in Colorado and they got knocked down. The same people that was running up on them and poisoning their animals is the same people that are the DAs and the judges, and they ain't getting nowhere. So it doesn't make sense for you to do what you're doing. All right. And he picked right. Jason Brown picked right in North Carolina. There's a lot of cities that they're either, majority black, or they're a good mixture of different people. You ain't gonna get definitely there's MAGA folks in North Carolina, but for those that are all around other POCs, including black people, more than likely they're friendly to black folks. As far as white people are concerned, and where you can find more allies. You ain't gonna find much allies in a place that's like 98% white and there's a whole lot of MAGA people. You got to be intentional. You have to know where you live, where you choose to live, where you put your feet. So now you can, instead of having guns at the ready, I understand not some people ain't not gonna have their guns, but if you go there to farm, you can concentrate on farming. That was the point. Now these people in Colorado, they can't concentrate on farming. So they spent their money for no reason. Yes, you can move anywhere in this country. And that's the problem with black people in this country, because black people keep on swallowing the talk of what a lot of these politicians say. I'm not saying there can't be a new America and that we can strive for better in this country, but you have to understand there are pockets in this country that just won't turn, and that's fine. That's all well and good, but it does not make sense for you to park your ass right in the middle of the lion's den. You have to pick a better place, black people. Let's go forward. Stop swallowing the bullshit propaganda they're telling you. We're all American. Sure, we are all American, but that doesn't mean people have to respect you, and that's fine. As I said, what I say, go where you are celebrated and not tolerated. And if you have to deal with racism, you have the tools and the resources and the people that's gonna back you all the way and be like, yeah, that's not right, and then you can get justice. Because these folks in Colorado can't get no justice. They are literally turning their back on them when they're trying to get some sort of movement in getting some justice. Now they got to go outside of the damn Colorado and get some intent. They lost their money. They gonna probably have to take an L on that. They could probably have to take that L on that property that they bought. And I feel bad for them because there's probably a lot of money they sold. Go to places where you could be a farmer and you don't have to have guns at the ready all the time when you're trying to feed your pigs. Understand what I'm saying? Okay, let's move on from that. There was another thing that happened. Is a good brand. Jalen Williams. It's another case that just popped up again. Intentionality, black people. Now I don't know the thoughts of these people. That's the thing. A lot of times they black like me. Not all skin folk is kinfolk, as they say. Just because you look like me doesn't mean you think like me. So I don't know on the minds of these people. Next thing you know, it's like when you see a wild child wilding at school, and you're like, damn, man, where the parents at? This kid's just wilding in school. And then all of a sudden you speak to the parents and you say, oh, I see. Oh, that's why that kid's wild. Because the mama and papa's crazy. All right, I get it. So it's the same thing. Why did they move out in Colorado? Maybe they're like Candace Owens. Maybe they think like Candace Owens and thought, hey, man, I'm MAGA too. I could be down with you. Hell nah. When the cameras is on, they think different. When the cameras is off, hell nah. Okay? Maybe as I said, they swallowed the propaganda. They swallowed the red pill. And they thought, hey, America the beautiful. Hell nah. Hell nah. But hey, I earned it. I had my heart on. Hell nah. Some people call it a nigga wake up call. Hell nah. Y'all you best start thinking. Anyway, unfortunately, Jalen Williams, a young man, he was found dead. His body was found naked, dead on February 10th in the field off of Highway 89 near Livingston, Montana. Livingston, Montana. He was born. Let me go through the story here. He's from Illinois, actually. And he went to Montana let me see here. Let me just read the story to you guys. Police Assistant Chief Wayne Hard of the Livingston Police Department says the investigation is ongoing and there is no risk to the public. Livingston Police have requested confirmation from the coroner on the autopsy report that there was no foul play, and they're saying that there was cuts and scrapes and clear evidence that there was foul play. And the Livingston Police said the coroner said there ain't nothing wrong with this body. Okay, a family is searching for answers to the death of their loved one. The Livingston Enterprise reported that a naked body was found, as I said, in the morning of Friday, February 10th, in the field off of Highway 89 near Livingston, Montana. The body was identified as 19-year-old Jalen Williams from Evanston, Illinois. The Park County coroner, Al Jenkins, told the Living Enterprise that the autopsy and investigation do not show signs of foul play. According to hashtag Justice for Jalen website created by his family, people go and support the family there. Jalen moved to Montana to work on a ranch for the program Heroes and Horses. The family was told Jalen froze to death. The family claims detectives are avoiding talking to them about this case. According to hashtag Justice for Jalen website, Jalen's body was found 3.5 miles from his residence. The Livingston police and the Park County coroner has not yet returned our calls on his death. Montana's Kristen Merkel is in Livingston today to try and get more information. Now, I heard that that his girlfriend was with him, this young man Jalen, right before he turned up missing. From what it looks like in the pictures, he played football. So yeah, that's that I'm curious of that, you know. So it is really unfortunate that this brother was found dead, but you know, I'm not going to be as hard because they lost a loved one here. So, but this is what I'm talking about in related to this family in Colorado. He's coming from Illinois and he went to Montana for a program and he ended up dead. And I have conversations with my kids and I'm telling them, do not move, sir. I keep it real. You think I'm playing? I'm not just talking on this mic. I tell them, do not go anywhere where you are not anywhere. Okay? Make sure where you go, there's plenty of black people or a mixed community. Because don't find yourself you thinking you going to college or you going to doing something and you end up in Utah and there's 95% white folk. I'm telling you, do not do it. Because it's not them, it's the police. If not the police, it's the sheriff. If not the sheriff, it's the job. Don't do it. Find yourself where you at. I tell my kids that today. Okay? Don't go to that school. No, because I pay attention. And I'm not stupid. Okay? Now, yeah, you should be able, like I said, go anywhere, but hey, man, you just can't go anywhere. You know what I mean? It's sundown. Everybody knows sundown towns. I'm not going to buy a house a mile off from a sundown town. I'm sorry. So be mindful of where you at, black people, or anybody for that matter, POCs, but it's particularly black people. Be mindful where you decide to buy a house, where you decide to live. Okay. Anyway, next up, so East Palestine, Ohio, man, they continue to suffer in what's going on out there. Governor DeWine denied getting help from President Biden. Oh, good old boy Trump, he made a visit there and people were cheering him on. People were cheering him. They were giving him the welcome home of President Trump. Yeah, so the mayor of East Palestine had some words to say about Biden, but he quickly turned that around. Because he was like, he had some words about Biden because Biden ended up in Ukraine and he was like, he should have been here. But he's off in Ukraine. The people needed help, but he turned that around. And I think Governor DeWine, if I'm correct, spoke to the mayor of East Palestine and the mayor turned that around. So he said he's welcoming President Biden. Now I say this. People deserve justice. And you probably may not think that I would say this, but I'm going to say this. People in East Palestine, regardless of who they voted for, deserve justice. Because I believe everybody's human beings. Everyone's had families. Everyone had lives and basketball games and all soccer games. And these people are the poor working class. They may be misguided in my eye, but they're the poor working class. And they scrape the bottom of the barrel too. And they're suffering from a situation because regulation was cut on the quality of how the conditions of these trains. The trains derailed. They were carrying gallons and gallons and gallons, thousands and thousands of gallons of toxic chemicals. It spilled over and now, they're suffering from the blowback from this. So they do deserve justice, regardless of how I feel, my opinions on voting for Trump. The MAGA folk, not all of them East Palestine, but I was very aware when I first heard the story that was the case. But who turned me around on that? The senator, what's her name? I forgot her name. I can't remember all these people. And she said, regardless of what people, or regardless of what you think, Nina Turner, there you go, popped up on the first one. Nina Turner, she said, regardless of what you think, these people deserve justice, and you're right. Yes, they do deserve justice. And they also, but what I have a problem with is that they're so easily swayed by false information. And they were, you know, of course, the news, of course, they listen to Fox, and they're telling these people, you know, it was all Biden's fault. But, you know, when you do the digging, this is how I just said it before, they run hardcore. When you do the digging, Trump actually he nullified the regulation as far as the conditions of these trains, that they run at tip-top condition. He slashed the regulation that was going to ensure that these trains, that the companies did what was right to keep these trains in good condition, to keep them from derailing. And, you know, look what happened. But the people voted for him. That's the thing. You know, I swear it's amazing, man. It's amazing. And that's what is the purpose of the news, major news media, man, to ensure that you have people not think for themselves. And I think that ties in with your educational system. And when you have poor education, when you have people believing what's on the news, you know, the polished, elegant, sleek layout, and the handsome, debonair newscaster, and the pretty, gorgeous newscaster, female co-host, and they're telling you these things with their pearly whites, and you tend to believe them, especially if you've been watching them for a long time. Now these people are suffering, and they don't even know the same person that they're cheering on is the very person that cut the regulation, that caused the trains to be in this condition, and look what happened. But nevertheless, yes, I stand by Nina Turner's words. They do deserve justice, and I hopefully they do get it. Secretary of Transportation Pete Buttigieg was there, and he stayed away for quite some time. And it took 10 days for him to put out a statement, and 20 days to visit East Palestine at the time. When I read up on this, and you know, when he was talking, I just didn't believe him. I'm sorry. He was on the Breakfast Club. He was talking it up with Charlamagne the God. You know, Angela Yee, and I just, you know, DJ, oh my God, you know, Envy, thank you, my DJ Envy, and he was, you know, he looked like a real nice guy, Pete Buttigieg, but, you know, he was talking after that. I didn't believe a word he said, because I'm like, stop playing, Pete, you know, you acting like these people, you ain't, come on. You know, it was so disingenuous. It was crazy, man. And that's what I'm trying to say, man. Very disingenuous. To the point, I mean, I don't know, man. There's nothing I can say. At most I can do is reach out to the people that's listening to the show, and hopefully, you know, this goes across the nation, and people listen to this, and then people, you know, yeah, you're right. You know, it's not about that. But you can't save those that are down, deep down in the rabbit hole. They have swallowed the pill. They're eating the steak. You know what I mean? It tastes real good to them. And hey, it is what it is, man. And the next thing I'm talking about is Superman Legacy, man. Superman Legacy. What you talking about? No, Superman. There was a fan-made film. It's crazy. It was amazing, man. It was little under 5 minutes. I didn't know what I was watching. I forgot how I was watching it on the YouTube. Great short piece. The visuals was crazy. This narration was strong. It was a bit dark at the beginning, but it turned a bit at the end, and I loved it. But I'm telling you, it was a fan-made film about Superman. The only one issue I had was some of the words. And I like to shout out. Actually, he responded to me. The director responded to me on Twitter, because I spoke about it on Twitter. It was amazing, man. You got to see this. Just put in Superman Legacy. Watch this short for. There were certain scenes that I thought it was real life. I thought it was real. It was that good. But it was CGI. It was CGI, and then the director shouted me out. His name is Stavros Philoditis. Stavros, Stavros, Philaditis. I think, I'm sorry for butchering your name, Fylladditis. Philaditis, I guess that's how you pronounce his name. And he is the primary person. There are other people that worked on this film too. But yeah, man, and you can find him in Stavros FYL if you want to go to his Twitter page. It was great, man. Most of these fan made pieces on YouTube is better than the actual movies. There was fan made Star Wars. It was fan made Dragon Ball Z. I don't remember the names. You can look it up. And there were about two of them. I think they were two by two different directors. Amazing stuff. And there's this other company called Reanime. That's a company that makes live action anime from the cartoons. And they did one that was One Punch Man video. Everybody know One Punch Man. I don't watch it a lot because I don't have as much time, but I know One Punch Man. And they did this live action One Punch Man, and it was off the chain. It went viral. It went so well that even the company Bandai Namco reached out and ordered them to take down the video because it was, copyright infringement. They're actually taking characters, and the creator of Reanime put out a change.org notice or whatever letter you want to call it for people to support him to sign. Eventually, he got the video back on his channel because they wanted to take down all the cartoons off his channel. But he won. The people supported him, and the Bandai allowed him to put it back on there. And that's what's up, man. Fans do a better job because they love these characters. The studios fail because it's about money for them. They don't care. Sometimes the studios work. It just depends. Marvel, for instance, when the planets align, they can make dope movies. But more often than not, it turns into a business and they ruin the whole franchise. They ruin it. And I think Marvel is kind of suffering from that now because there was a little bit of bad news from Quantumania. People loved Kang. They loved the character actor with the Kang. It is what it is, but they hate it. It's not the characters, man. It's not the characters. It's the storyline. It's the storyline, man. They love Jonathan Majors, and there you got the Evangeline Lilly. Bill Murray was in it. People like Paul Rudd. People love Paul Rudd, but something about it turned people off. And people said they went to go see Kang, and Kang outshot even Paul Rudd, but they didn't like the movie like that. But then I saw Rotten Tomatoes, and I see the kind of a turn. The fans liked it. It wasn't Avatar, where it was just a unanimous decision that this movie was off the chain. Some people didn't like it, but the fans dug it. Who really didn't like it was the critics. The critics gave it like a 40-something% on Rotten Tomatoes. The fans is like 80-something%. So it's a stark difference. And I see that a lot, man. The fans will love a movie and the critics hate it. It's rare that you have the fans love a movie and the critics love the movie at the same time. But more often than not, it's the fans loving the movie and the critics is like, I don't know, man. It's their business to knock it over. Anyway, it is what it is. Next one is another thing that just came off the head. The owner of Dilbert, Scott Adams, the owner, Dilbert is a cartoon that was a comic strip in newspapers for decades. That's another one that goes back to when I was a kid, right? Reading the Sunday paper and I'm seeing Dilbert. Dilbert, it wasn't slap the knee hilarious, but I dug Dilbert, all right? And I think they have a cartoon of Dilbert. So the owner of Dilbert, Scott Adams, comes out saying some crazy shit. This dude, he went totally MAGA right. I mean, he was saying that I don't like black people. Did he say that word for word? I don't know, but I know at this point people know this video. This dude was like, stay away from black people. I don't live around black people. Y'all suggest you don't live around. I was like, my man went full MAGA tilt. Hey man, it's good to know. I have no problems, especially with the racist white folks. You won't have no words from me. You want to live over there? That's fine with me. I don't have a problem. Oh, he was going over the top with it. I was like, say word. So all the newspapers, all the magazines, or wherever Dilbert comic strip was at, got taken off. And this dude is reveling in Scott Adams revel. This is the crazy part. Elon Musk actually said some crazy stuff, and he had to delete his tweet. Elon was like, "Oh, I love Dilbert. I don't know what's wrong with Scott Adams." I'm like, "What? What? Yo, word, Elon, you gonna get down like that?" Yo, I knew there was something funny about you, Elon. I knew there was you can't. No. No, Monty. No, Monty, I'm not going for it. Yo, I'm not going for it. Yo, this dude be trying to roll with black comedians and hanging out with Dave Chappelle and want to be so forward thinking and all that. And all of a sudden he want to say this with Scott Adams. Hey, I love Dilbert. I don't know what Scott Adams said wrong. Who said anything about Dilbert, you fuckface? Nobody said nothing about Dilbert, man. Ain't nobody talking about Dilbert, Elon. All right. And one person said on Twitter, they was like, yo, you could take the man out. What he said, out of apartheid, but you can't take apartheid out the man. Hey, and because everybody knows he came up from rich family, his rich family that owned land in South Africa during the apartheid era, the apartheid period. So, I'm like, that's how he did it. That's where he got his bread from. You notice all the famous rich CEOs that off their businesses, they ain't start from ground zero. They already have money. All right. So when Elon Musk said that funny suspect line, I'm like, even from this far away, I know Elon is, because he said too many things that threw up red flags. And it's like, it is what it is. Ain't no thing. It's like knowing your boss is racist, but you got to deal with this fucker anyway. So it's like, I won't even say that. Another guy that's in a higher position at your job, and this dude is racist, but you still got to deal with him anyway. So that's the same thing with Elon. Like, bruh, all right, cool. Because black people know this already. That's our life, living in this country. You're going to deal with racism, and the racism is going to sit right next to your ass. And that's what it is. We've learned to adapt. That's the wild, magical thing about black people. White people, racist white people can't be around black people. They cannot. As I said with this dude, Scott Adams. Black people, we have adapted. We can stand next to racism, and we have to deal with it. And we've learned how to do it so cleverly. Yeah. Anyway, so the main topic of this joint, where we at? Let me see how we run in with time. All right. So, okay. We I think I'm getting close. All right. So this is going to take. So I was going to talk about, I think I'm going to leave this show here because there's a lot of things that I want to talk about, and I thought I could leave it at the end of the show. I was going to talk to, the point is I was going to talk about how to prepare for a nuclear attack. That was the main part of the show, but it's a lot. I'm running close, and I don't want to go over too much time. So this is what I will do. I will take this and I'm going to leave it at the top of the next show. And actually, I'm trying to reach out for this guy that I found on YouTube, because I was YouTubing and Googling how to prepare for a nuclear attack. Found a lot of good information. And I found this guy, and I'm hoping to see if I can get him on the show and talk to this dude. Let's see what happens. But that's what I'll do. I'll leave it here, and I'll see you guys next week. There's some things I'm gonna post and have you guys support this 8-point thing. I was actually doing something else, but I'm here. I'm gonna post that. And even to the point I may turn back on my Facebook. I don't know. I gotta see. So anyway, yeah. So I'm gonna post that joint on social media and getting some other things. And as I always say, I'm banging it out. I'm talking to you guys on a weekly basis, but behind the scenes, I'm just trying to get some things straight and get them right. You know what I mean? For 2023. So, all right, folks, thank you for listening to me. I was talking for a little bit, made a part of certain things that wasn't part of listening. That was Lori Lightfoot, man. That's what took up the time, man. Talking about Lori Lightfoot. And that came out of nowhere, but it is what it is. So I'll leave that to the next show. All right, thank you guys for listening to me. I appreciate it for tuning in. I'll see you next week, or I'll talk to you guys next week, and tune in. Appreciate it. All right, make sure you hit the like button. Make sure you subscribe. Make sure you tune in on all the platforms that play podcasts. GCOM Radio, of course, you can find it putting G. Don't forget the hyphen or the dash, or whatever you want to call it. Dash. Com Radio on iHeartRadio or any other place. It should pop right up, and you'll be able to listen to the show. So, all right, folks, I'm gonna get out of here again. Thanks for listening. Peace.
Check it.
You just listened to GCOM Radio, powered by Lyfeblood.com. For the global community.
We worldwide, baby.
See you in the next go-round. From right here to your town, we out.